Hi, how are you doing? My name is Rohit and I will be breaking down the 8th match of this year's IPL, which saw the Sunrisers Hyderabad take on the Mumbai Indians in Hyderabad. And this one, this one was a run fest. Oh my goodness. Every single batting record you can think of, it was probably broken in this match. From start to finish, you just had runs on top of runs on top of runs. To put it into context, there was only one bowler for Mumbai who bowled at an economy less than 10. Every other bowler was going for 13, 14, 15, 16 runs. Some of them even went for upwards of 17 runs. That should give you an idea of just what type of carnage went down. So to that end, we'll start with the end result, which was the Sunrisers Hyderabad winning by 31 runs. And from start to finish, records were tumbling, runs were scoring. It was all happening. You start with Travis Head, who comes into the batting lineup and comes into the playing 11, which is something that a lot of Sunrisers Hyderabad fans wanted, but never happened in the first match. He comes in and he sets the record for the fastest 50 by a Sunrisers Hyderabad player, scoring 50 from just 18 balls and finishing with 62 from 24. Unfortunately for Travis Head, that record did not last. Abhishek Sharma comes in, next thing you know, he gets 63 of 23, and he gets to his half century in 16 balls. So Travis Head held that record for all of 20 minutes. Next thing you know, his own teammate breaks it, which, if you're Travis Head, you're kind of like, hey, at least let me have this one, man. I just got here. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of a Sunrisers Hyderabad fan, to see that you have multiple players who scored half centuries in less than 20 balls, your batting lineup is in great shape. Abhishek Sharma, by the way, did end up winning player of the match for his efforts. Though ironically, he wasn't even the top scorer on his own team. That honor goes to Heinrich Klaassen, who scored 80 from just 34, reaching his half century in 23 balls. Keep in mind, if you score a half century in 25 balls, that's already 2 runs a ball. That is ridiculously impressive. All 3 of these players I just mentioned, Travis Head, Abhishek Sharma, Heinrich Klaassen, all scored half centuries at less than 25 balls. This was just scoring carnage. And it shows in the scorecard. The Sunrisers Hyderabad effectively scored at 14 runs and over, which is how they got to 277, which is a total that is the single highest team scored in IPL history. 277. Eclipsing an 11-year-old record that was held by the Royal Challengers Bangalore and they said that back in 2013 when they scored 263. That innings was anchored by Chris Gale's mammoth 175. And this wasn't anything like that match. That match was just a one-man show. This was an entire team contribution because we also had Aiden Markram scoring 42 from 28. So you have 4 players scoring over 40. 3 of them scored in the 50s. One of them even scored 80. And the strike rates are even more impressive. Travis Head, 258. Abhishek Sharma, 274. Heinrich Klaassen, 235. There's no words to describe it. That's just bowling carnage. And now you're thinking, there's no way that Mumbai can even come close. And the best part is, they did. They did come close. They scored 246. And here's the thing about that. 246 is tied for the 5th highest team score in IPL history. Imagine having an effort so historic that you get yourself in the top 5, but it's not enough to win. That's absurd. This is the joint 5th highest total ever. And you're telling me that wasn't enough to win? But in the context, it sort of makes sense. You went up against the single greatest team scoring efforts in IPL history. When records are tumbling like that, even when you break your own records, sometimes you just can't help it, and you just lose to a better batting effort, which ultimately did end up happening. Even Mumbai's players, all of them were scoring very rapidly. Rohit Sharma, 26 from 12. Ishan Kishan, 34 from 13. Namandir, 30 from 14. Tilak Varma top scoring, 64 from 34. Tim David coming in at the end, 42 from 22. Mumbai was not without scorers. Everybody was scoring. Everybody was scoring rapidly. It's just that there were just too many runs on the board that you could feasibly get. Because in general, having to chase anything over 200 is very difficult. Having to chase 220, almost even before the chase starts, advantage is already with the bowling side. 2 overs, next thing you know, you're already looking at you needing over 2 runs a ball. But when you're starting the innings and you haven't even faced a single ball yet, and your required run rate is at 14, think about that. 14 runs and over just to maintain pace. If you have a 14 run over, generally, you would consider that a very good over. In this type of match, a 14 run over only allows you to maintain pace. It doesn't allow you to get ahead. It only allows you to stay on track, and you have to do that over and over again. Which is hilarious to think about and insane to think about, because again, when we say in general that this team needs a good over, a 14, 15 run over, that's one incident. But we, in this situation, expect a team to have to do that over and over again just to maintain pace and have a chance to win. And to Mumbai's credit, they did that to a very large extent. They actually maintained pace with the run rate. It's just that wickets kept falling, and eventually you just fall behind and you can't really catch back up again. And unfortunately, this type of match, that happens. This is an absolute run fest. And the key positives for both teams, these batting units can fire. Every single batter that I've mentioned so far had a strike rate of over 200, with the exception of Tim David and Aiden Markram, who did not have strike rates of over 200. They did have strike rates of over 180, which is still absurdly impressive. That should give you an idea of what type of run scoring we were looking at. Absolutely historic throughout. The ball was flying to all parts of the ground. It doesn't matter what side you were bowling from. It doesn't matter what type of bowling you were doing. Somehow, every single ball felt like it was going to find the middle of the bat and go into the stands. That was just the type of day it was. And sometimes as a bowler, you just have to tip your hat and say, you're batting well. I can't do much about that. And that's what it was on both sides. And here's the thing. If Mumbai maybe gets ahead of the run rate a little earlier, because they were ahead of the run rate, especially early on in the power play. They had 50 runs in just 3 overs. If they could just double that without losing wickets, that's 106. Sunrisers Hyderabad only made 80 in 6, and you're already looking ahead. But that never happened. And instead, what happened was Mumbai started losing wickets in the power play, which already puts you a little behind, because wickets means players who cannot bat anymore, and that's already a valuable resource. But yeah, no, it's just something that you can't really put into words. This is a once-in-a-lifetime sort of match, once-in-a-lifetime sort of event, and a very early candidate for game of the season. An absolute just phenomenal game. Very entertaining. But yeah, that's all I really got to say, because I'm honestly just at a loss for words. This is just entertaining. Both teams felt like they were seeing the ball like a beach ball, and it was just scoring on top of scoring on top of scoring, and unfortunately one team had to lose. And again, that's the nature of the sport. Sometimes that happens. Anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe as usual, and I'll be back next time for the next breakdown. Thank you. Have a good one.